Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Out of Rhythm Fantasy Studios. I'm Jamie. That's Eli. I'm sorry we're a little bit late, but you can blame Eli for always being fashionably late. So it's maybe he should just tell me, hey, we'll start at 7:30 and not like, well, we'll start at 7, but technically it's 7:15, but it's one of those things. Some of the, what honestly, I wish I just go over there, grab him, and be like, all right, dude, we're going right now.
See, he's throwing me under the bus. I'm trying to have a nice Monday here. As you guys know, I sling those packages on Monday. I did my FedEx route, and I'm here tonight. I feel like I'm in the jungle. I see some grass there, kind of a new background we got going on. And Donovan's getting ready. It's almost spring here. Although I think we're getting a snowstorm up in South Dakota this week, but damn near spring. I have to cut the grass there. But everybody, this is I touch. It kind of touches us a little bit because he's kind of a local guy in a sense, because he did commit to South Dakota at one time for a little bit before he ended up at K-State. He's from Waterloo, Iowa. So he's a good Midwestern boy. So we're gonna talk about Ben Sinnott tonight, or Sinnott. So
Yeah.
There's a couple pronunciations of his name. We'll go with Ben Sinnott. So.
Yep. Yes. That is who is on our agenda tonight. But yeah, hey, if you guys haven't, please subscribe and join our channel, join our family. If you want to. If you guys enjoy these little prospects that we're talking about, and give you guys a little bit more insight on these guys before we hit our the dynasty rookie draft and all that stuff for most of you guys. And we always give you guys at least 5 teams and whatnot, and then that's our thoughts overall. And if you guys like what we do, just jot a comment down below, in the nice live stream down there. So it's I know we're trying something different. It seems people kind of gravitating toward what we're doing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. We might be doing this a little bit more too as well. So when the season starts, we might be doing some college stuff. We're not quite sure yet on that part, but we're kind of in the works. So we might just kind of continue talking about guys in general when the season happens. So we're not. So this kind of put that out there right now. But yeah.
Just to back up what Jay's saying, that's yet to be determined. We'd like to do, like we mentioned, I think last Wednesday when we did one of these spotlights, we mentioned that we might be doing move to 2 shows a week, do like maybe some NFL waivers and then some college stuff. So you should, starting in either the summer or fall, you should be guaranteed, right? We've been doing the last couple of weeks, we've been doing Mondays and Wednesdays, so that might turn into a permanent thing starting in the summer or fall. So you'll get a double dose of us. So it's never a bad thing. And if you want to watch any of these previous spotlights, including tonight's episode, go on over to YouTube. Jay made a nice playlist there. Got everybody like my boy LA Knight. Got underclassmen that didn't come out. We got Riley Leonard, a couple other guys up to we did a couple guys last week. Spencer Rattler, running back from Louisville as well, and obviously tonight Ben Sinnott. So all nice playlist, and you can track these guys. We're coming up. Hey man, we got a little over a month before the NFL draft. So big things are about to happen. The combine that's in the rearview mirror now, and moving forward, people want to know who's going on their team. So tonight I'm going to mention, like I've been doing previous episodes, I'm mentioning my 5 teams that are most likely, and I include the picks this time. That'll be a new thing where I give you the exact pick of where I think they're gonna, where I think Ben Sinnott's gonna land. And obviously we'll profile and kind of go over his stats, his fantasy stats from college for the past season, and some of the projections that we're thinking for his 2024 NFL rookie season as well. So
for
a lot of good stuff tonight.
Yeah. Just make sure you guys join our Discord. The links actually in the description below. And actually, if you want to follow me on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. All the links are in the bio down there. So yeah, if you want to follow that crazy guy, harass him, tell him to actually use Twitter and all that stuff. Just go give him a follow down there and whatnot. So
give me a follow. Hell, I'll get on there. You give me some love, I'll give you some love in return. I'm like one of those baby tigers you see on YouTube.
He's prowling in the grass that we have down there. Jeez,
You want me
calm down,
more on
buddy.
X?
Calm down.
You want me more on the X? Give me some follows, man.
But yeah, hey, if you guys, March Madness is actually here too as well. So, hey, hey guys, if you guys are actually on Sleeper, you guys use it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty mobile. It's in the palm of your hands. Get on that. Open up your camera. See that little QR button down there. Get on there, pop that up, join our our Madness bracket down there. We have a few in there already. Yeah, Eli's got it. I don't want to see your picks right now. Come on now. Well, he's got Gonzaga or some crap up there.
I was trying to show the people. Trying to show the people that's where you can find us.
But yeah, go ahead, get over there, join us. QR code's up here. We'll kind of curiously kind of pop it up between the show here and there, in between our segments and stuff like that, so you guys can coming in late or early or whichever. Come over and join. It's all free. Just breaking rights and be like, hey, I'm better than you guys. Just come over, join us, have a little fun. I mean, that's all I want to do is have a little fun, make some picks, and hopefully I can beat the rest of you guys. If you guys want to beat me and Eli, jump in there and have at it, man. So
yeah, great bragging rights. And if you guys aren't into the gambling, it's a good place to go for free. And like Jay was saying, bragging rights, and you'll have plenty of opportunities to do games and parlays and that kind of stuff. But this is kind of a different setting for that. So yeah, go and check that out. And I love that little graphic you did. It reminds me of the old Cartoon Network. Remember, like the little Cartoon Network logo back in the day, the little black and white checkerboard thing. That's what I love. This, man.
Right. I already won, but you can join. And Donovan, you're a funny man. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, this guy's got he brought a lawnmower tonight to do our grass. Talking smack already about March Madness. Isn't even the play-in game yet. Isn't even Tuesday yet. And but you know what, Donovan, if you haven't, one more plug here before we get into Ben Sinnott. If you haven't checked out any of Donovan's baseball content yet, you need to do that. Season's coming up. Drafting's going on right now for a lot of different leagues, or I would say within the next week. I mean, almost all the leagues are going to be drafting for fantasy baseball. Donovan is giving some great statistics, great analysis. Go on over there. And if we have time before the start of the season, I'd love for the two of us to get on with Donovan and to do an Out of Rhythm family episode. Bring us all in together and to do a fantasy baseball preview. But yeah, that's to be determined. So I mean, possibly not. So we'll see if that could work out.
Yeah, your brother already recommended it. He's all like, because we had his draft here last night, and he's all like, you guys gonna be doing a baseball show here? And I'm like, yeah, maybe, possibly. But we're kind of too busy cramming out all these nice prospect profiles for everybody to kind of listen to and check out, so
yeah, if you and I aren't working 6 and 7 days a week or 6 days a week maybe and doing this show, like maybe we can. I don't think anybody knows, man. They don't know the struggle.
Yeah, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll quickly hit a couple NFL, just some couple NFL news real quick, highlights real quick, and then we'll just head on over to Ben Sinnott. So I guess what's his name? Madison actually found a home with the Raiders. I mean, I don't know how much that will help the Raiders, but I mean, I guess he signed with the Raiders here today. So, I mean,
that sounds about right. They like their sloppy seconds in Vegas.
Well, I mean, it's Sin City for a reason now. Come on now.
Yeah, right. My initial thoughts on that, man. They're going to be junk again. I mean, that division, Chargers are going to be way better with Jim Harbaugh and some of the moves they're going to be making here. Chiefs, obviously, they'll be back. I think Denver is going to be. You don't like Herbert and Jim Harbaugh?
I mean, I love Herbert. I love Herbert, but they have no offense. They have nothing. There's nothing there.
Jim Harbaugh fixes stuff quick. But anyway, so Okay, within the next 2025, Denver's going to be better because they're going to draft a quarterback and they'll get Bo Nix or whoever will get up to speed. So by 2025, it'll be the best division of football. So the Raiders, but moves like this, I'm not for. You could have got Aaron Jones. He ended up going to the Vikings. You could have got Aaron Jones. Obviously, I think Derrick Henry would have preferred a contender. That's why he went to Baltimore, or it would
Yep.
probably been Baltimore or Dallas, one of those two. So he wasn't going to go to some scrub 5-win team. So you take Alexander Madison, he's going to get his, but it'll be him and Zamir White, you think, unless
Yeah,
they draft somebody higher.
yeah.
They take Trey Benson or Blake Corum or somebody like that. So I think Madison will be back in the role he was a couple years ago when he was backing up Dalvin Cook, kind of just a sidekick running back. That's all he was ever meant to be. He was never meant to be a feature back.
Yeah, it sounds like
in terms of signing, I'm like, it's just.
Yeah, pretty much complimentary. I mean, pretty much if you need an
complimentary
RB2,
back.
yeah, if you need an RB2 when it cut, if you need an RB2, I mean, especially when it gets closer to the, August, we'll know more after the draft of where he will slot in. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson to the Steelers, which is crazy. And then I think we mentioned Kenny Pickett actually getting traded. That really blows for me in
Good
Dynasty.
riddance.
That sucks for me. I guess AJ Dillon stays with Green Bay, and I think we mentioned that already. And then the what's his name actually? I can't think of his name now. Just dumbfounded at the moment. He signs your boy. He signs with the Raider. Was Raider, went to the Packers. Can't think of his name now. I had him. Gibbs, not Gibbs. Jacobs. He signed there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
I'll go over the Packers and Steelers here quick, and then see if you have any more, or give your thoughts on it. Love what the Steelers did. You're basically getting, like, fantasy wise, I think they have about equal value, because I think they're gonna work Fields in the packages. He might turn into a damn Taysom Hill for all we know. You know what I mean? So it might be in Russ in some packages, Justin Fields in some packages. These guys are dirt cheap. They're each like couple, Russ is like a little over $1 million. I think Justin Fields a couple million. So it's dirt cheap for the team. I don't blame them. It opens up money for them. I think they're going to sign Mike Williams. The Chargers cut him. So I think Mike Williams could end up in Pittsburgh. That could be a great landing spot for him. Him and George Pickens and Freiermuth together. Delicious. And then the Packers, AJ Dillon, basically you got a younger, better version of Aaron Jones, in my opinion, in Josh Jacobs. And you re-signed AJ Dillon. So I like the move. I like all the moves Green Bay has been making. I mean, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but they don't ever do dumb stuff. And they're going to make the playoffs. They'll probably be about where they were last year. Wild card divisional playoffs again. So they just don't do dumb stuff. Green Bay's always solid in all their moves, and I like the AJ Dillon signing.
Yeah, here's the funny part is. Yeah. So here's the funny part is that the Steelers actually they got Wilson on a trade, got freaking Fields on a trade. Pretty much, basically, they're getting a two-headed Wilson is what they're getting. It's just that Fields is a better, much younger version of Fields. Fields is actually a younger version of what Wilson is. So pretty much, they're getting the same quarterback. Just a two-headed monster, and it's just like, what? It was, I was just listening to these guys talking about, the trade and everything, and everybody's like, oh, pretty much the outages and stuff are almost similar, and it's just like Russ's is a little bit better, and it pretty much they actually screwed over the Bears, because I mean they can actually, if Fields doesn't play over like 50% of this season, they'll get a 6th rounder for him, and then if he actually plays over 50, they'll end up getting a 4th round from them. So they'll be like, oh well, we really don't have to play Fields, and they'll be like, well, here you go, Bears, you can have a 6th round pick for Fields, and it's just kind of like, my God.
Well, like I said, Steelers and Packers, like, they don't win the Super Bowl every year. They don't make a lot of deep play. Recently they haven't made a lot of deep playoff runs, but they don't. Their organizations, they're solid all around. They don't do dumb stuff. It's the Bears doing dumb shit like this. And when they traded up for Justin Fields, I was I was reading something, and I had forgot they had even given all that stuff, but they gave a ton of stuff in 2021 to go up and get Justin Fields, and then basically your return's a 6th-round pick.
Yep.
Because unless Russ gets hurt, he's playing at least 50% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Russ isn't starting. Right now, before Arthur Smith and that organization gets their hands on Justin Fields, Russell Wilson's a better quarterback. Let's just call a spade a spade. But yeah, if something happens there. And then the Eagles with Pickett, how that ties in with the Steelers, like Eagles getting Kenny Pickett. I don't mind it. I wouldn't want the guy to start, 15 games, 17 games, even like 13 games for me. But, Jalen gets banged up a couple times a year. Like he'll miss a game or two here and there. I don't have any problem with Kenny Pickett coming in for, a 2-game stretch and being my starting quarterback. He's solid. Not, he'll be one of the better backups. I mean, he was always going to be a low end starter, but he'll be a guy, if you're in a redraft league, 12, 16 man, you'll probably be picking up at some point. Cause like I said, especially when they add that 18th game, like Jalen's going to miss 2-3 games a year going forward. You know what I mean? You'd assume. So having Kenny Pickett there, especially the next 2 years, I think he's got a 2-year contract. I don't mind it.
I don't like it because I have Kenny Pickett in my dynasty league, and now I'm scrambling.
We have to bench
his
ass.
Yeah, pretty much. So now I'm scrambling trying to figure.
Where's that little fail? Where's that little fail button you got? Dun, dun, dun.
No, so I pretty much got Kenny Pickett, and now I'm scrambling because the only good quarterback I got is Purdy. So I'm pretty much screwed in a super flex. So I'm like, God damn it. So I don't know. I was gonna try to get an extra pick in the first round, but I don't know if it's gonna be doable because I had a trade offer, but I'm like, the guy wants Calvin Ridley and my first round for next year, but it's only so I would get his pick, which is right before mine in the 7th. So I'm like, screw. I might say screw it, and I'm just tank and just try to get the first round pick, and maybe try to get one of like Shedeur or somebody in the 2025 pick, 2025 draft. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to weigh my options with that part. So I'm like, damn it, I don't know if I'm just thinking of maybe just tanking. I don't want to tank, but I'm in a hard position.
Yeah, but it would have been the same thing. Honestly, it would have been the same thing had he torn his ACL week 1 like Rodgers did last year. Like if Kenny Pickett had stayed the Pittsburgh starting quarterback, week 1 this year, whoever they're playing, he tears his ACL. It's the equivalent. He's out for the year. So basically, that's what you need to be saying. Like, hey, basically, I lost one of my 2 quarterbacks, and he's out for the year. So now and I understand your dilemma, and there's probably some other guys going through that too. Like, hey, do I tank? Do I try to trade for somebody? Do I kind of do a makeshift thing? Do I try to get a Gardner Minshew, kind of a plug and play guy, Sam Darnold? Because they come cheap, you think.
Well,
with whatever you willing to offer, but I think those 2 guys. I think those 2 guys are gonna be starting the majority of the season. Whether they're, I think both teams are gonna be bad, Vikings and Raiders, but both those guys I think will be starting the majority of the season. So look into them.
Yeah. Well, I guess on the plus side, I got rid of Bateman for an extra 4th round pick in the for this year. So I got 2 picks in the 4th round. So like there's a good chance I could probably get a Joe Milton, or maybe in the 3rd, try to get a Pratt,
Michael Pratt.
Yeah, so maybe I try to get one of him in the 2nd, in the 3rd, and I can have just try for some long shots with something else, see what kind of comes to me, I guess you can put it that way. But yeah, enough about my fantasy stuff there, dynasty stuff. We should probably have a whole this show and just talking dynasty. Yeah.
It's okay. It's our show. Talk about whatever we want.
Real quick here, Jimmy G with the LA Charger, or not the Rams. Don't care for it too much.
No, he's shot.
Yep. Aaron Donald retires. And then Drew Lock with the Giants. Just sounds like he wants to try to maybe kind of be in the mix of maybe starting or not starting. In a nice way.
That's not. Would you be shocked? Honestly, would you be shocked if Drew Lock started a game for the Giants this year? I wouldn't be. I don't trust Daniel Jones. trust Danny Times, and DeVito had a few decent games, but he's a backup. I mean, he'll implode after about the third, fourth game. So Drew Lock, yeah, definitely come in, be the backup,
Yeah.
probably start a handful of games. I could easily see that.
Yeah, I mean, he might. I'm sure he might. I'm sure there'll be if Danny does get hurt or something, he'll be up in there somewhere in there. I mean, I think there'll be a growing offense. I mean, the wide receiver area should be all figured out by then, so we should have a good idea how good their wide receiver core is, if it's good, trash, or, just say bleh. I'm not doing anything with them, but we'll have to wait and see with that. While I think we were Marquise Brown to the Chiefs, Keenan Allen to the Bears.
Keenan Allen, I know he had a big year last year, but I think people are going to be disappointed. I mean, he's going to be what, 34 this year? I
Yeah,
something like that.
33, somewhere in there.
34. I think people are going to be disappointed if you think he's going to replicate what he did last year, especially with the other mouths. Probably with a rookie Caleb Williams, you got to feed DJ Moore, you got to feed Cole Kmet, you got to even a little bit of I forget who the other guy they signed was, but
Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift. That's kind of a big deal too. I think they're going to be disappointed with Keenan Allen, and the other signing, Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. That's going to be an underrated signing. That's going to be one of those. I mean, they're a high profile team. We're going to see him every week on TV, but in terms of like fantasy, I expect Hollywood Brown to probably have his best years since his Baltimore days. Like he could step. I mean, him and Ray Shee will be like 1A, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of see. I think with the Sky Moore and that MVS and fucking Tony fella wannabe that thought he was good and
Darius Tony, no, get him out. Get him. You know what? He's going. Don't mention that man's name.
He's like, yep. He's gonna kick him right out the door. But hey, it is what it is. I even said that Tony guy is a joke. And I don't even. Yeah, Eli was all about him, but I'm like, hell no, dude. That guy's he's just a sham. He's like, hey guys, pick me. I won't do anything for your fantasy team though.
Absolutely not.
Oh, all right. I think that's enough. I think that's enough NFL talk. I had enough of it, and yeah. So stay tuned, guys, for this summer because we will actually just kind of cover everything. We'll have our divisional previews this summer, so we'll talk about all that stuff. We'll talk about all the 4 teams, fantasy stuff, all that stuff will be in our divisional preview on that. So please, if you guys want to, if you guys wanted to hear that this summer, hit that subscribe button. That so you guys know when we actually talk about that stuff, and maybe follow me on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter because I might announce it when we actually talk about this stuff. So just call and follow us. We would greatly appreciate it. But I think it's time. I think it's time for us to switch on over to some college stuff. And I think we're going to talk about a guy from Kansas State Wildcats, tight end. Is his name Ben something? Ben something? Ben Sinnott. No, I didn't say Snot. Ben Sinnott. Who? I don't know. Don't ask me.
Oh, up. Well, yeah. Can't get enough. Can never get enough LA Knight. Can never get enough NFL. But we have to decompress here. We have to cleanse ourselves. Donovan trying to bring up Justin Fields late. Yes, Donovan. We talked about him 15 minutes ago. We ain't going back there again. No, we move at out of rhythm, especially our spotlights. We move forward. You see this? We're walking on up. Okay? That's what we're gonna do here.
Yes, that's what we are.
Ben Sinnott. Yes, Ben Sinnott, tight end, K-State, and I grew up. That was one of my couple. I was a big when I was a young kid. I was a big Virginia Tech fan with Michael Vick and D'Angelo Hall, those kind of guys. So that was kind of my East Coast team. And growing up in the Midwest here, like Kansas State was my other team. So I kind of have a soft spot for K-State. And sorry, he was a bum anyway. I missed that part. Yeah, and guess what, Donovan? He's in a completely different part of the country now, different conference. So you don't even got to worry about him. Okay,
yeah,
so
right?
Just erase him from your mind. Just okay. Let's get back. I'm gonna bring everybody back. Let's herd everybody back in. Let's. There we go. Everybody calm down. Now, Ben Sinnott, we've been using NFL Draft Buzz. There's other places, like I always mention on all these streams, there's other places to go, obviously. There's PFF. There's other draft places. I mean, ESPN, everybody's got a draft or, seventh round, there's 7-round projections, they're undrafted projections, they're this, they're that, they're rankings. But I like Draft Buzz because it's kind of a combination of everything, and they're pretty reliable. So that's what we typically go with. So he's the 130th ranked prospect as of March 18th. I was check up to date because sometimes these things fluctuate, especially after the combine. It changed a bunch, so it would have changed his ranking would have changed a bunch from where it was, February 18th, for example. Right now he's the 5th ranked tight end, projected to be about a 4th round pick. Side, I was reading somewhere about, Trey McBride. When Trey McBride was a prospect 2 years ago, they said, because they couldn't find any dirt on this guy because he was the top tight end. He was the Mackey winner. And we see what Trey's doing now with the Cardinals. But one of the knocks on him was he's got good, not great size. I'm sorry, 6'4" for a tight end. Yeah, that's about the going rate. That was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever read. They were acting like the guy was Aaron Hernandez and like 6'1". I was like, dude, the guy's Trey McBride was plenty good size. This guy,
What?
Trey, 6'4", 250. Technically, it said he's a senior, but he really only played 3 years. His first year was almost redshirted. So, and he was a fullback. So he's basically a converted fullback into a tight end. Which we'll get into more as we go along more in his profile over here. But ran a 4.68 40 time, which for a tight end is, if this was a receiver or running back, we'd look at you funny, but that's a decent time for a tight end. His stats there I have on the bottom. 2021, like I mentioned, he was a fullback for redshirt year, and then 2021 as well. So his 1 year as a fullback that he got a decent amount of play. Jay's got it up there too. 2 receptions, 15 yards. So, and I think he had a touchdown rushing. Like he had like 12 yards rushing and a touchdown or something. So,
I don't put that
one. He was a walk-on. Well, he was a walk-on. So it's like he wasn't some 4 or 5-star recruit that was coming in that was going to, day one. He wasn't a Brock Bowers. Like day one, hey, dude, you're going to be our starter, or your sophomore year, you're going to be targeted all these times. So he had to work his way, like the old school way, work his way up the depth chart, kind of like Baker Mayfield did at Texas Tech and OU. Had to walk on and become the star he became.
Hey,
2022.
That reminds me.
I think
that reminds me.
Got the years. I think Jay's got the years mixed up, but it's fine. It'll work.
Yeah. That's supposed to be 2023.
They know what they know what we mean. They know what we mean. All right, so his second year there, 31 grabs, 447 yards, 4 touchdowns, and it seemed pedestrian, but for college tight ends, it's like when a running back in college catches 400 yards receiving. That's pretty damn good. Like in the NFL, that's just kind of the going rate, but in college, that's like whoa. So, 447 doesn't look like a lot, but for a tight end, because they're not targeted as much in college, like that's actually pretty good. And then his last year, so he has 2022, but you know what we mean, 2023, 49 catches, 676 yards, 6 touchdowns. He was in the top 6 in all 3 categories for FBS tight ends. So, he was statistically all around. Yeah, it was a Mackey Award winning finalist, all Big 12. So he had, they're not, it's hard for an NFL person. Like, I don't know who's all watching this or who's going to come across this, but for an NFL person, you're like, whoa, George Kittle, averages 900 yards and 13 touchdowns or Travis Kelce does this and so does that. It's like their numbers are going to be different. Not everybody's Brock Bowers was like the exception. And like most stat lines look like this. Dallin Holker, who's another guy who's the 6th rated tight end who we did a profile on. His numbers were very similar to at Colorado State. So, and he was another guy that's rising up draft boards. So that's kind of where the stats lie with him. Do you have any thought before I get into my comp range, Jay? Do you have any thoughts on the stats or?
Well,
or any of
I was just
the
gonna say, 'cause since you were talking about, like,
projections.
a walk-on, I was like, "Well, hey, we know another walk-on that we actually talked about," and that was Cody Schrader, because he was a
Yeah,
walk-on.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. Other
that was
guy.
just another guy I was gonna mention, because just a walk-on guy, I'm just not knowing anything about him. Next thing you know, he's blowing up, and he act a little. I mean, he had a small little, okay, let's put it this way, that when it comes to tight ends, I mean, these are your typical yardage. You'll kinda see 600, maybe 700 tops with most average tight ends, because 'cause you're not gonna see a 1,000, you're not gonna see a guy that has 1,000 yards in college.
No.
Maybe in the NFL if you're like a top tier. I mean, I could probably see Brock Bauer maybe seeing 1,000 yards, depending on where he lands, and actually being a tight end one, that part all depends too, on where he actually lands. But, a guy like Ben Sinnott, he will be your, typical lower tier guy. I mean, I looked into him a little bit. I think he'll be more of a pass catcher, or pass blocker, sorry, a pass blocker guy. So, I mean, he will be good in, in some like the 3rd down, 4th down kind of situations in the NFL, but just I'll get into more of that a little bit later too. So, but just overall in general, he's kind of us in fantasy, where we all need tight ends. He'll be a tight end. Hopefully, once the draft happens, maybe he's the guy we'll be drafting. I got a tier breakdown too of some guys too that be like, oh wow, he's going right there, and be like, yeah, I'll take him over those guys. So I'll bring it up a little bit later.
Yeah, I think Jay's got that graphic ready to queue up. I'll get my comp range in here quick, and then he can probably put that up. And I'll see what you think too. And if anybody has any thoughts on Ben Sinnott, if you're a Big 12 fan, or you're just learning about the guy tonight, you can go ahead and comment, or put in your 2 cents, and we'll work it into the show. We always enjoy comments.
Yes, we do.
Harrison Bryant from the Browns, I think, is his floor. I think that's his floor, kind of being like a backup guy. I throw in a bunch of different factors when I do this. I don't just be like, oh well, the eye test is one thing, obviously. Like, okay, if you're watching a YouTube highlight, if you watched a few of their games, like, okay, what does he kind of look like? Where is he falling into? Harrison Bryant was a guy that had a big college career, came into the NFL, was pretty highly touted as the Browns. I remember him in the 2020, preseason, and just thinking, okay, this guy's he might take Njoku's job, or at least be his, kind of his complimentary guy. It'd be Harrison Bryant and David Njoku, and it just he had a few flashes, but just never panned out. 4 years in the NFL, very lackluster. Just a backup. A guy that'll pop up on occasion. You'll see, like, when everybody's rushing week 15 in a redraft league to go out and get somebody, is like, oh, Harrison Bryant had, 80 yards and a touchdown this week. And then the next week, it'll be no catches, no yards. 2 weeks later, 1 catch, 12 yards. He's that kind of guy. So I think that's his floor. Mid-range, and usually the mid-range is where I think they're going to end up. Jay put his stats up there as well for fantasy. So if you guys want to look at that as well while I'm talking. The mid-range is kind of where I go for what's most realistic. And I think most realistic, based on the skill set, hand size, 40 time, just playmaking ability, being he's a multi-role tight end is the best way to describe. You can pretty much plug him anywhere. If you need him to block, if you need him to go and get a 12-yard first down, you need him to be a fullback, basically run it in for a 2-yard touchdown. I think this guy can do just about everything. That's what I like. I like the versatility here. But I think Tucker Kraft from the Green Bay Packers, rookie this past year, reminds me a lot of him. Just watching some of the highlights reminds me a ton of Tucker Kraft. Similar size, similar part of the country. Tucker Kraft is from South Dakota here. Obviously, Ben Sinnott's from Iowa. So, Midwest boys. And Tucker Kraft is like a high-end backup, you'd say. Maybe like a really good number 2. Like I'd say right now, maybe it'll change. Maybe a couple years from now, he takes over from Luke Musgrave. But I think Luke Musgrave is more of the big play tight end. I think it's his job. So technically, I think Tucker Kraft is the backup tight end. So Ben Sinnott would probably fall into something like that. Maybe if he was in Detroit, like Detroit doesn't need a tight end, but maybe if he was the Lions, he'd be like Sam Laporta's backup. Be a backup to a really good tight end. And put up stats here and there. Just kind of or with Baltimore, like Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely, we always mentioned him on the show because we know how good he is, and the only reason he hasn't seen any much playing time is when Mark Andrews was on the field is like because he's Mark Andrews. When he's healthy, he's a top 5 tight end. So, but we saw what he could do when he could take over. So that maybe in a situation like that, or you take over for an older tight end, Travis Kelce. You become the successor to that. So I think Tucker Kraft and Tucker Kraft had a really good rookie year. So, and I think that's only going to improve going forward with getting a full sample size, full season of him. Probably two tight ends in Green Bay there. And then this is an older comp, and I think is his ceiling. And this is be like some of you guys are remember and this is dated. I mean, usually I try to keep it within the past 4 or 5 years with stuff. This is really out there. If you guys remember the old days with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, all the Colts teams from like the late 2000s, Dallas Clark. He was the big number 44 tight end for them. He reminds me a lot of Dallas Clark from similar part of the country, Midwest boy, similar skill set, similar size, similar 40 time. And Dallas Clark, he was really good. He's really good for, I think he made an all-pro team, if I remember right, and probably a couple Pro Bowls. I think that would be the ceiling. He wasn't a Hall of Fame level tight end. He wasn't a Tony Gonzalez, Kelce, Antonio Gates level guy. But Dallas Clark was damn good for a long time. And, I think these last two guys is what he reminds me of the most is Tucker Kraft and Dallas Clark. And it reminds me of him. I'll see what Jay thinks here. But those are so my floor, Harrison Bryant, most likely probably be a high-end backup tight end, Tucker Kraft, and then being like a occasional Pro Bowl level guy like Dallas Clark. I think would be Ben Sinnott's ceiling.
Yeah, here's here was the funny thing too that because I'm like, well, I was actually going back and taking a look and seeing like how good the Wildcats were, and they were in the Big 12, so I'm like, all right, well, they're kind of most of the time they're kind of a mediocre team, they're always kind of 50-50. They play well, or they can be a bad team as well, and I'm like, well, I went back and take a look. I'm like, okay, well, I wanted to see if this guy was like their leading guy, or if he was kind of how much playing time he was getting and whatnot. And here's the crazy funny thing is that Kansas was, they actually was only putting up, 204 yards rushing, team wise, 12th in the country. Passing about 241, so about 54th in the country. So, they're almost top 50, so I'm just like, all right. So he was actually getting 13% of the targets. And I'm like, well, that's kind of quite a bit for a tight end. And I was looking back, and their number one wide receiver he was getting like 14% of the targets. And he had just a few more receptions, but yardage wise, not so much. And I'm like, why does this team look so weird for it? And then when I went and looked, they're pretty much running. They were actually a running team,
Yeah,
so so
they've been a running. Jay, they've been a running program since the long as I've watched them. Growing up watching Big 12 and K-State, they used to run. They used to be the option. In the Bill Snyder days, and and now with Chris Kleiman, it's the same. Yeah, they're heavy running team. The quarterback has got to be mobile. Even Will Howard, I think he's moved on. He transferred, and but the kid coming up is going to be good too. But yeah, they don't throw very much. So if you're a tight end getting equal shares of targets of the number one receiver, that's damn good. That says a lot. That's like, hey, we trust you.
Yeah, it was because
Like,
they're
basically our de facto 1A receiver.
Yeah,
basically wide receiver 1A is what Ben Sinnott was.
Yeah, their running back get-ins. He had 10 touchdowns and then 2 receiving touchdowns, and then Will Howard, he actually had 9 rushing touchdowns, and then I don't know how he got 1 receiving touchdown. So I'm like, so it was pretty much, you could kind of tell it was pretty much running back, quarterback, just had really, really super heavy. And then, just sprinkle in a little bit of wide receiver and a little bit of tight end. And, from the little bit of, target shares he did get, with the limited amount of what he did get, he put up, 670 some odd yards, so for a tight end, for us liking a tight end like that, I mean, that's gold for us because I mean, you know, that means he's actually involved in the offense, and that's what we want. We want tight ends that are actually involved in the offense, not a number 2 guy or whatever like that, so for us, I mean, this guy is gold. I mean, that's my perspective. I mean, this guy is a good he's like the Mike Osterlot of freaking tight ends. Even though he was a fullback, but he's kinda like a Mike Osterlot. You think of the old Buccaneers,
Yeah.
fullback
Yep.
there, so that's who he kinda who he reminds me of. And, he's actually good after the catch. He's actually good, while running. I mean, he's got a little bit of poor, like, route running, but he's good in those short dump off screens, the intermediate, 10, 15 yards out, and the other crazy thing is that most of these defenses are getting lost, they're not finding this guy, and this guy's always from to me, it always seems like he's always wide open, so I mean, this guy, a tight end getting lost in the defense and, just chunk yards after chunk yards. I mean, it's insane.
Not everybody has to be Travis Kelce. Not everybody's got to be Tony Gonzalez. These big time can get you 40-yard reception tight end kind of guys. Like, death by 1,000 cuts. Like, why can't this guy put together a stat line? 8 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown, or 8 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Like, it doesn't have to be always, Kelce had 9 grabs on 12 targets for, 108 yards and touchdowns. It doesn't always have to be like that. And he's not that kind of player, but the versatility, he's got a quick burst off the line. Good, like I said, got good soft hands. Some of the other stuff, not the greatest blocker, but most of these modern tight ends, they, like the receiver type or the more like volume receiver type, they're not like, this isn't 1990. You're playing for Bill Parcells and you gotta, you catch 20 balls and block the rest of the time. Like, these guys are expected to be a huge part of the offense, especially this guy. He's crafty. And Mike Allstott or like a Puka Nacua, like not the skill level, you know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna blow up and have a 1,400 whatever Puka had, monster rookie season.
What?
You know what I'm saying? He's crafty.
And that's why
he's Tucker crafty is what he is.
I mean, and that's what I saw too. I mean, I think when if he does get drafted, I think he'll kind of end up more playing that, that pass blocking, tight end, third downs, fourth downs, when teams get into the fourth, that third down situation, if they have to throw. And I think he'll kind of be in a lot of those situations just from what I was seeing, and I mean, he might be all right, not an A plus blocker, but B minus, somewhere in there. I mean, he will do some good blocking. I mean, I've seen some plays where he was making sure defenders are not hitting his quarterback. I mean, but I'm sure a lot of that will be fine tuned when he does get into NFL technique and stuff like that for all that stuff. So I mean, I'm sure that will be addressed when he does hit the NFL.
Serviceable enough. I don't think he's ever going to be a Rob Gronkowski, that level, like where you can block and catch and just do everything at a high, top 5 level, like all around. But as long as he can be serviceable, they're going to get him on the field. He's going to see a bunch of playing time.
I think he could be kind of like a Hunter Henry. You remember Hunter Henry? Hunter Henry was with.
He had a good year with New England this past year. I mean, there was a couple weeks where he was like the number 1 fantasy tight end. I mean, so yeah, Hunter Henry. If that's kind of where you are with your comps, like if that's one of them, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry's he's not great, but he's had a bunch of solid years with the Chargers and Patriots.
Yeah, he kind of flashes, but then he doesn't flash, and then you're like, well, what the hell, So I mean, he'll kind of fit into that. I think he'll kind of flash a little bit, and then it's kind of like, well, then he'll be kind of lost at sea, and then he'll come back to shore, and then he's irrelevant again, So
lost without a paddle,
pretty much. And that was kind of what I saw with him, anyways. That was kind of my rundown breakdown with Ben Sinnott. Sinnott.
About to call him Ben Sinnott.
Yes,
he'll be there in the White House with old Uncle Joe and some of the other clowns they had over
Uh,
oh, man. I'd vote for Ben Sinnott over these other people we're putting up for office. So, and Ben, I trust here. Any more thoughts? Any more stats, Jay? Before I move to the top 5 potential teams.
eh,
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I mean, you can bring up we can bring up the teams too.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
other
I'll
than that,
talk
you
to
can
that.
kind of, I mean, you can kind of already tell that, we already were kind of hyping this guy up already, especially in the, Big 12 there. You can kind of tell he was pretty much leading tight end in their conference. Um, and then, you can see on the side there, just follow the arrow and it shows the rest of his statistics where he kind of fell in the Big 12 there. Jared Riley, I think there was a couple. I think Jared Riley is a guy for the draft. I don't know about Chavian Sanders. I usually put the little draft symbol right
A
next to
little
him so you
graphic.
guys know if
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
if they're going into draft, but I think Jared Riley is,
was
but I don't know about the other 2.
I was gonna say, Jay, quick. Jatavian Sanders is the number 2 tight end. So it's Brock Bowers. Jatavian Sanders is number 2 right now. So he basically outperformed. Not only was he at probably had a better quarterback too. Quinn Ewers over Will Howard. I'd take Quinn Ewers over Will Howard. So he had a better quarterback. Steve Sarkisian, the coach. I mean, that's more of a passing game. So he basically had Kleeman's a good coach with K-State, but you get my point. Like, so he probably was in a better situation. He still outperformed him. And so if Jatavian Sanders is projected to be, I think probably a late second, early third round pick somewhere in there. So that's a case in point. Like Ben Sinnott had a great, I mean, not good, a great, top, he was in top 6 and all, like I mentioned earlier, top 6 in all 3 major categories. I'm not sure about targets or, yards per catch. I didn't get into those. I know he was in the, I think he was in the discussion for the top in 2022. I think he averaged like 14.4 yards a catch in 2022. So he definitely probably was in the top 5 in
Yeah,
all of FBS that year. So I think he outplayed him. And that's his competition for where he's going to be drafted. Not sure about Wiley and Dabney from Baylor, but
yeah, I was just looking here at,
Sanders. I know Jatavian Sanders.
yeah, I was looking here at Fantasy Pros quick. They got Jatavian Sanders here. 4th tier, about 32nd, tight end. And then you have Brock Bowers in that same tier at 19. And then it was like then it was tier 7 or tier 6 that I have is where he kind of lies in, and he's pretty much Bensonot is right at top 50 tight end, which I could probably just
Yeah,
pop
day
this up here.
1. So basically day 1, they're like, yeah, this guy is where he falls in at. You had old man Zach Ertz there. Jonnu Smith, who, had a decent year with the Falcons, basically was a touchdown machine, didn't do much else. Hayden Hurst is kind of, a backup at this point. Panthers, you get cut by the Panthers. I mean, that says enough right there. Noah
Yep.
Gray, career backup, behind Kelsey and with the
Yep.
Chiefs. Brevin Jordan, occasionally pop for the Texans, but backup. Cole
Yep.
Turner, Jaheim Bell, Kate Stover, but yeah, there's our boy Dallin Holker right at the bottom there. So yeah,
Yep.
right for right now. Yeah, a couple years from now, he'll pass all these guys easily. But like right now, yeah, that definitely. This
Yep.
is where I would stick him in.
Yeah, and,
Probably
yeah, I mean,
right
I
below
think he's
Hayden, probably.
yeah, he's kinda right in the middle of these guys. He's ahead of Cade and, Jaheim Bell. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I really didn't like Stover myself because I had him in fantasy, and I'm just like, "Dude, I wanna get this guy off my team," but he
yeah.
was with, yeah, I
Tell me
was
how you
at
really
the
feel.
yeah, and at that time, I'm like, well, I had Marvin Harrison Jr. I had their freaking, Henderson from I had the running back, and then I'm like, well, I needed a tight end, I didn't have one, and I'm like, well, Cade Stover, and, so I had most of the freaking Ohio State guys for my college team in fantasy, and most of the guys were totally frustrating me, and I actually hate freaking, Henderson. He was not good. I mean, he was hurt, but, which was a downfall there, and Stover was kinda not used as much just because of their quarterback was not that great. Yeah, my thoughts.
I think that's some damn good analysis. And yeah, somewhere, yeah, because I'm not a big Noah Gray fan. I like Brevin Jordan more than I like Noah Gray. So I think right
Yep.
into Hayden Hurst, Brevin Jordan, Ben Sinnott, I think he's right in that range. Not I mean, Zach Ertz is a lot more accomplished. Jonnu Smith has done some things with the he's been the Falcons, Titans, maybe with the Patriots too. I know he's been with quite a few teams, but yeah, he's not quite at that level yet. But I agree on that
Yeah.
list there. Get into my top 5 teams here. You can stick that up.
Yeah.
For the where he ranks overall throughout the country. And yeah, we
Yep.
got three of our favorite guys right there. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So we'll do these 5 teams, and yeah, you can jump in on that too. You know what? I got the Bengals at number 1. You know, because does Mike Gesicki really do anything for anybody at this point? I mean, Mike Gesicki, come on now, Mike Gesicki, he's trash. He's trash. You know, Dolphins let him go. I think who was with the Patriot. I'm trying to think of all the crap. You know, all the spots he's been. He's had decent years at points, but just not. Yeah, he doesn't do anything for me. And I think Drew Sample's their backup. I mean, they need a weapon. Okay, they need a weapon. They need. I'm assuming they're going to get somebody. Probably another receiver, or at least another running back too. I mean, obviously they moved on from Joe Mixon, so they'll probably go offense in the draft. They'll probably get some offensive line help as well. But I'd say, you know what, pick 115, which is in the 4th round. Donovan, a couple of these guys are suppressed by their team situation. Yeah, you can argue that. Yeah, a little bit, but it's also a talent thing too. It's like, you know, would Noah Gray? Would Noah Gray really be starting for anybody else? Would he be starting on the Falcons over Kyle Pitts? No. Would he be starting even with the Bengals? Is Noah Gray going to be starting over Mike Gesicki? No. So not always the case. What do you thought of the Bengals number 1? Because I think they need another playmaker at tight end. They haven't really had that in the Joe Burrow era.
No, I mean, they haven't. Yeah, I mean, Gesicki, that doesn't
the offense
do anything.
You get a guy like this, 4th round. That's lethal.
Yeah, yeah, Gesicki and Tanner Hudson, they don't do anything for me. Yeah, it's no, it's trash. Not good at all. I mean,
get out of here.
He might get you a touchdown or 2 during the season, but I mean, that's it.
Yeah, just and we know a lot of guys like that. There's just Jelani Woods, Brevin Jordan. There's a lot of guys, Jawan Johnson. There's a lot of these like random, you know, tight end 25 to 40 guys that'll get you like a 2 touchdown game every now and again. You need something better than that. You need a more consistent flow, more consistent playing time targets, and that's what I think. If Ben Sinnott was their featured tight end, you know, either the end of this year or into 2025, I'd like that a lot with the Bengals for sure. Number 2, I got the Giants. Because why the hell not? Daniel Bellinger, really? I mean, they tried with Darren Waller, but you know, like we were saying, Darren Waller was a shell of himself. Injuries and just other factors came. You know, he wasn't the same guy he was with the Raiders, not even close. So, yeah, Bellinger, and then I'm not even sure who the rest of their backups are, but they're probably junk. If Daniel Bellinger is your tight end 1, they're probably the rest of them are probably junk. So they don't have any playmakers. They don't have a single one. You could argue at various points, maybe Sterling Shepard. The guy can't stay on the field, and now he's getting older. So it's like they don't. Wan'Dale Robinson. They've tried different guys. They're just not it. I think you need a playmaker like this, and like with DeVito last year, I think the fans would love this. Like we haven't had a playmaking, we haven't had a tight end like this since probably Jeremy Shockey, you know,
right?
like 20 years ago. Like,
God, that guy's old.
What do you think about the Giants at number 2?
Yeah, they need to upgrade. I have Darren Waller on my dynasty team, and I wish I could try to trade him because he kind of had it. He kind of had an okay season, but I'm like,
give him away for a 6th round pick.
Does somebody want him? Come get him, please. You can have him. I'd rather have a Dallin Holker or a Ben Sinnott, you know. So I'd rather have one of those guys on my, you know, taxi squad. So, Daniel, we will get to your question here in a minute. Well, we usually kind of have a notable team we kind of bring up after our five. So we'll get to your question here in just a minute.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and put that up after I get the five in. If one of his questions involves another team, like yeah, we can definitely work them in.
Yep.
Number three, I got the Washington Commanders because Logan Thomas, who was their longtime tight end, they let him go. I I think they're going to take Brock Bowers. If I were to bet money, I think with their first round pick. Actually, no, no. I take that back. I was thinking of the Bears for a minute. Like I thought the Commanders were picking a 9, but I'm like, no, they're going to take Jaden Daniels. I get that. So yeah, they might end up. Yeah, hell, they pick 139. I think that's an early 5th round pick. I mean, if Sinnott like somehow fell that far, I mean that'd be a steal. Getting him early 5th round be an absolute steal. And they need an upgrade. I mean, Logan Thomas he had his moments here and there, and he at various points, Logan you could argue was a top 20 tight end, but it's time to get somebody younger, cheap, and who better, and he offers a playmaker. Especially if you're bringing in Jaden Daniels and some of the they re-signed Terry McLaurin, obviously. I think last offseason, not this past year, but I think they're going to retool. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ben going to the Commanders, number 3 here?
I mean, for Zach Ertz kind of being there, I think that would be a good fit. They have John Bates.
He's old man Ertz to me. He's another. I said Keenan Allen's old. Zach Ertz is old as dirt.
Yep.
Yeah,
he
get him out.
It.
Get him out.
They have Amari Rogers. I think that guy almost sounded like he was a tight end from the Packers because I think didn't they have a Packer named Amari Rogers?
You get my point, Jay. We're having to scrape the bottom. That's why this team is number 3, because we have to scrape at the bottom of the barrel to find a decent tight end. Zach Ertz is old as dirt.
Yep.
Rogers probably at some point was a backup so they had a bunch of Rogers over in Green Bay at one point. It's just not very good. I think he'd find some playing time there.
Yeah. Yep. I would have to agree.
All right, number 4, Carolina Panthers, because that's the running joke on this on this whole spotlight thing. We put the Panthers in every top 5 list that we do. Back at I think they were at number 4 when we did Isaac on Wednesday last week, running back from Louisville. Number 4, Ben Sinnott, be an earlier 4th round pick, but if a team, Panthers have done other, goofy stuff like draft Bryce Young, so they've done other questionable things. So early 4th round pick, you let guy, you jump on him. I get it, easy enough. Tommy Tremble, does he really do anything for anybody? Come on now. Tommy, I think he was Tommy was probably 2nd, 3rd round pick a couple years ago. Yeah, he ain't much anything. So I think day one, Ben Sinnott would be a better tight end than Tommy Tremble. And the other backups, unless you have them in front of you, I'm guessing they're trash. If Tommy Tremble is your feature tight end 1, the rest of the depth chart can't be very good.
Yeah, they had Tremble and Hayden Hurst, and Tremble had I think 23.
I thought they cut Hayden Hurst.
Well, I was just looking. Yeah, I think they did, but I'm just looking at stats here at the time here.
Yeah.
23 receptions and 194 yards, 18 receptions, 184 yards, and I think Tremble had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, 3 touchdowns, and they need help. And the couple other guys that they have on here, just very little, maybe a touchdown, not even, so yeah, they need help in that area. Well, they need help all in general, just because their team sucks. Yeah, I don't know why we put the Panthers in here. I know you do, because I hate them with a passion.
I think it's fun. It cracks me up. I think it's funny. Eventually, we're gonna get a Panthers fan to come across this and just like woo and defend. Maybe Luke. I think Luke Combs, the country singer. I think he's a big Panther fan. He was ripping the team on social media. Maybe we can get Luke Combs on the Out of Rhythm show and he can do a little guitar, sing a little song, and we can. And I'll talk trash to his face about his beloved Carolina Panthers. And then number 5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have. And this isn't a homer pick. Trust me. I've kept the Bucs out of a lot of top 5. We've kept the Cowboys out of a lot of top 5s. I think Cowboys have only been a part of 1, and the Bucs. This is the first one for the Bucs. So I try to keep our favorite teams out of this, but we need tight end help after Cade Otton. And Cade Otton's not even, I mean, I think he was the 20th ranked fantasy tight end. So, like, even Cade Otton he's solid, but he's not great or anything. So, I think we need some help after him. We need another playmaker. Mike, I love the Mike Evans is coming back for a couple years, but we need to get, another playmaker that's younger. Chris Godwin, another guy getting up there in years. Yeah, Rashad White coming out of the backfield, catching passes. I don't mind that, but I think Ben, I think he'd be a great fit with the Bucs. I think he'd be an awesome fit. And I mentioned Dallas Clark earlier. I remember that 2012 team. We had Dallas Clark for a year, and maybe that's what jogged my memory. I was like, oh yeah, I remember Dallas Clark. We had him for a year. What are your thoughts on? I put the Bucs at 5 at taking him at pick 125 in the 4th round. What do you think about that?
I didn't mind Auden. I mean, he was usable. I mean, not quite, but I mean, it's kind of one of those wash things. I mean, 13 receptions, 154 yards and a touchdown in there. I mean, they could use more. I mean, Durham made 100 yards. I mean, they were pretty much really tossing to their wide receivers and running backs. I mean, their tight ends weren't really used that well. So I mean, if they could get a tight end like him, I mean, yeah, that would help out quite a bit. If they did draft him, that would be nice for Baker. Keep him, you know, they signed him to 3 years, so that would be very nice for him. Keep him upright, keep him from not getting injured. So I mean, Ben Sinnott would be actually a nice fit for the Buccaneers, and maybe help them get back to the playoffs again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, while we're talking about him, like we like this kid a lot, and so do you want to go down the list there of the fantasy the top guys from this
Yeah,
past season?
you can kind of tell where where he. I mean, if Brock Bowers, if he didn't miss a couple of games, he would have been the top tight end here, and you kind of get an idea here. Where most of these guys are pretty much Pac-12. Well, one Pac-12, and most of the other guys are Big 12. So I mean, you kind of get an idea. All of his statistics are great. So I mean, I like him. I mean, he would be I think he'd be my number 2 tight end if I needed to. It all depends on landing spots too, as well. That's my perspective on him. So, but it just gives you a frank idea how washed the tight end situation is. It's always kind of been that way. We have a few, tight ends that kind of come out here and there. So I mean, it's just one of those things that happens. We always want tight ends because that's how it comes with fantasy. We want great tight ends. We want to find that, that tier 2 or tier 3 guy that's somewhat mediocre, that can give us production, that can give us, a couple touchdowns or something to win our week, and this could be your guy.
Okay, I'll show you a tight end, big boy. No, but it's one of the positions that, and the high end guys we all know, and we know the teams that have these high end guys, and there's probably 10 to 12 of them. The other ones need an upgrade. I mean, let's just be honest. We could expand this list even more, and I'll get into his question here if you want to pop that up. But yeah, if you want to expand this list, I mean, there could definitely be 15 to 20 teams looking to upgrade tight end. I mean, it's one of those positions. It's like quarterback. It's like you got 10, 12 really good ones, and then beyond that, hey, we probably need an upgrade. We probably need to draft one higher. And running backs, a lot of them are interchangeable. Receivers, same thing. You have the Daniel Dixon. What about the Chargers? Run first offense and Harborough. It's the Harborough man. Harbaugh ran a lot of 2 tight ends at Michigan. Chargers only have Disley and is it Donald Parham?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I can look that up quick.
Yeah, I think they have another guy too, but yeah, I get your Chargers. If we extended this, Chargers would probably be maybe team number 7. Probably could use definitely. If Will Disley right now is their tight end 1, you need an upgrade. I mean, that's sad. Will Disley, and he had I think a couple years ago had a solid year with the Seahawks, but yeah, he's not a tight end 1. He's barely a tight end 2. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, you can kind of. Well, he was injured quite a bit, and I was listening to some pods I listened to. They're always trying to hype him up, but he'd be good for a little bit, and then you get injured, and then it's kind of like, yeah. So here's a crazy.
Sounds like his buddy Noah Fant. You know,
right?
his old teammate with the Seahawks, same guy.
Let's see. I think they have Tyler Higbee on their roster yet. I'm not quite sure. He might be
That's the
gone.
Rams.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, they really don't have it. Well, I'm looking at CBS here, and
They
so
signed
yeah,
they signed Jay. They signed Hayden Hurst. So hey, yeah, but case in point, Hayden Hurst, Parham, and Will Dissly. Yeah, I don't want any of those guys. Give me Ben Sinnott.
yeah.
Sign me up. Give me
Well,
a little contract. Fill it out right here.
yeah, I'm sure. Disley didn't really. I mean, Disley maybe only had maybe 200, 300 yards total. He didn't. He wasn't really off. He wasn't really being used. He might get you a touchdown or two here and there in fantasy, but it's like, dude, he's on the waiver wire. I mean, who's drafting him? Sure in hell, not me. That's for damn sure. But to your point there, I mean, even here was a quick funny rumor. What if the Chargers actually traded Justin Fields to like the Vikings, and then Harbaugh actually.
Justin Herbert to the
Yeah,
Vikings?
and if then Harbaugh actually drafting JJ, because he already knows what he has, but here's the only downfall. The run game sucks. They don't have. I mean, Gus Edwards? Come on, that's trash. Totally trash. And then you have Josh Palmer,
Well,
Quentin Johnson, and then you got some other bunch of no namers. They need a lot of help.
We could do a whole stream on just the hypothetical of Justin Herbert being traded somewhere, maybe to the Vikings or whoever, Raiders, quarterback thirsty teams. Yeah, but that's a crazy thought. I probably shouldn't answer it now because we're talking about other stuff and people already think I have ADD. So, but whatever. What the hell? It's my show. Justin Herbert. Yeah, I'm not as high on Justin Herbert. I don't know about Jay, but I'm not as high on Justin Herbert as these fanboys on ESPN and these big networks and shit, Fox, all these places. I'm not as high on Justin Herbert, and the fact that the guy's making over $50 million, a year now, and the cap hit and all, everything that's about to kick in with this guy, I'd move him. Hell yeah, I'd move him. JJ McCarthy is probably 4 or 5 years younger. You already know what you have. He's gonna be on a rookie contract for 4 years minimum. So you're not paying him anything for 4 years. And then he'll get whatever the, 2028, 2029, whatever the hell quarterbacks are getting paid then, probably 60 million or so, 65 million or something. But yeah, for right now, you get cheaper because you're going to be bad. Chargers are going to be, I think they're going to be improved from last year, but they're going to be bad. They're going to be probably 7-10. So you're not winning this year. 2025, they're going to be a contender because Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere. And I'm not sure if Daniel was a Chargers fan or not, or if he was just bringing that up. But yeah, 2025, you guys are gonna be a contender. I would, because you're throwing away another year of Justin Herbert when you're paying this guy over $50 million. Is just my view on it. Is he top 10? Yeah. Is he top 5? No. So hell yeah. If the Vikings want to overpay for him, get a king's ransom, I'd do it in a heartbeat. What about you? Just it's random, but hey,
I know it is. Well, I mean, I
that.
do love Justin Fields. I've always loved Justin Fields, and it just looking
Herbert.
at what did I say? God damn it! See, Justin Fields,
It's okay.
all these Justins is just
I know, right? Justin Timberlake,
right? Here I'm talking about Justin. I want to talk about Herbert, and here I'm talking about Fields. And I'm just like, what? But no, yeah, Herbert, I actually liked, because I watched him when he was with the Ducks, and him actually landing with the Chargers. Well, I mean, they actually had some good wide receivers. They had a good running back. They had Eckler. I mean, they washed that away, with Eckler there. Keenan Allen and they pretty much had three good wide receivers. They weren't really using, Johnston. So that kind of hurt them, and he was pretty much a first round bust. They weren't getting him involved at all. And then when Mike Williams left, he wasn't involved, so it kind of hurt everything. And now all those guys are gone besides Palmer. Palmer, their number one guy down there with Quentin Johnson, maybe.
Nice. Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah, I think Josh Palmer's probably their number one receiver. Good Lord, what
that's what I was trying to say. Gus
this?
Edwards, I mean, they're going to have to.
They're gonna be bad.
They're going to have.
I might have been Jay. I think I was just being nice because it's Jim Harbaugh and the guy wins everywhere. I might have been being nice. They might win 4 or 5 games. I mean, that's a bad football team.
I think 6. I think 6. But I mean, they have to actually get some wide receivers. I mean, Gus Edwards is not going to do nothing for me.
No,
Why
he
would
was
I?
perfect in that. You watch what if you think Gus Edwards was good for Baltimore last year, just wait to see what Derrick Henry does for them, being their like de facto goal line back. This guy might go for 17 touchdowns. You know what I mean? He's way better than Gus Edwards will ever be, even at
Yeah.
this stage of his career.
Yeah, for sure. But and that's the downfall. When I was looking, I'm like, dude, this Charger team is. I mean, and this is gonna be us talking about the Chargers in our divisional preview too, as well.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna shred him.
so this is
Yeah,
this is a small little hint
I
of
can
what
turn
you're
it on.
getting right
That's what I'm
now.
gonna do with the Chargers. That's what I'm gonna do with the damn Chargers. I'm gonna put right in the paper shredder. Just there'll be another prop in my show. Yeah, this is what I think of your team. Here, right in the paper shredder.
So,
Patriots, paper shredder.
so if you guys are watching right now, please go over and subscribe to our channel. You know, if you guys want to, hear what we got to say for our additional divisional previews. We'll be starting that up here this summer. But yeah, we'll be starting with the AFC East first, and we'll just kind of trickle down that way. So the Chargers will be pretty much the last team we talk about. No, they'll be the last team we talk about, and the AFC West there. So if you guys want to,
purposely.
yeah. So yeah, just
go get some receivers. Go get some fucking receivers and draft Benson or even better yet, take Brock Bowers. I love Sinnott, but I mean Brock Bowers is going to be at some point will be a top 10, maybe top 5 tight end. So yeah, do get some players, and then maybe we'll talk about you. Maybe we'll be nice, and I won't put you in the paper shredder, Donovan. You can hear the real story from me in the Discord as well. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to know, our we're a little more censored here. If you want to see some raw stuff from all three of us, me, Jay, and then Donovan, yeah, go on over to the Discord. Lots of goodies over there. We got the tournament going on. We got the NCAA tournament going on. We got we're getting guys ready for the draft. Kind of bringing up people that are flying under the radar because the major networks have a hard on for Caleb Williams. That's all I want to fucking talk about is Caleb Williams, and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's now it's Malik Neighbors. We were the first ones on Malik. I mean, we were talking him up. Obviously, there's LSU fans and whatnot, but on the national scene, like we've been talking Malik Neighbors up for 6 months. It's just the last couple weeks the big networks have been getting on his dick too. So yeah, it's just you're tired of hearing about the top 10 guys because it's the same freaking people. Like go on over, see our thoughts. Jay's got the March out of rhythm March Madness. They got the QR code right there. Got the link. Go check that out as well. You see, he didn't like the fact that I unveiled my bracket, but I did because I'm not afraid, and I'm going to go with that one bracket. I have integrity here. I'm not going to fill out 10 brackets. I'm not going to go over here. I think no, it's the one bracket. I go down with the ship. So if Gonzaga goes down, I'm done. If Gonzaga gets upset in round 1, I'm El Finito.
Donovan says Williams is the perfect for the Bears. Yeah, you can already tell that's already kind of set up for that.
He's gonna fail. You heard it here first. Give me some Jaden Daniels. Give me some Jaden Daniels here.
So much crazy talk. But yes, go ahead, take out go out, get your guys' phone, hit that QR, come join our bracket, give us some crap if you guys beat us breaking rights and whatnot. Come over, join us, have a little fun, talk some smack in the chat there on Sleeper and whatnot. So it's all free, it's all fun and games. Yep. See, he even worked. See, it worked right there. So come join. But yeah, in the meantime, our Discord channel server, whatever, the link, all that stuff is in the description below. All of our links to our Twitter, X, whatever hell, the Bluebird.
Roll it up.
Hey, we're gonna be called.
You gotta put some DMX on.
Right? But yeah, all that stuff's in the description below too as well, and all of our you can find all of our audio actually on Apple, Spotify, and Google Play as well. So if you guys are into podcasts and all that stuff, I try to get that updated too as well, so we have all those there as well. So, I mean, other than that, I think it's time for us to go. We appreciate most comment well, not mo we appreciate all the comments, my slur words, they're not the greatest, I shouldn't be saying some. We appreciate all comments. Daniel, appreciate your comments. We
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
all
we're selective about the comments we like. We're some of these just aren't good enough. They're shit.
uh, but yes, other than that, hey guys, we appreciate everybody watching out there in X. So, if you guys like our content, please let us know. I mean, you guys can comment on X as well. So don't be shy to just say, hey, how you guys doing or whatever. You don't be shy. Um, but yeah, other than that, we appreciate everybody on all of our platforms. We actually had some viewers from, just all the viewers on I can't think now. I'm dumbfounded. Thanks, man.
It's okay. I'm gonna take. It's okay. I
Uh,
got something somewhere for you.
I think I need some of your Xanax to calm myself down a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
your ADD is affecting me now.
No.
Uh,
No, but I want to thank everybody. What he meant to say was thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We're gonna do. I'm not sure about Wednesday, but if we do, there's and you got time tonight. If you want to put something up tonight, because we watch this stuff, so we can get a player ready like that. So if you guys have a suggestion, go on over to X and put up a like. Good night, gentlemen. Yep, you too, Donovan. Go up and make a comment. Great breakdown on stuff. Yeah, thank you, Daniel, as well. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to go over to X, like I said, go and comment and put in a guy. If you want a specific guy, we haven't covered yet. We've got a ton of guys on the playlist. We try to stay away from the major network guys, Caleb and Marvin Harrison Jr., guys like that. Where we don't. But yeah, there's a lot of guys we haven't tapped into yet in terms of running back. Obviously, receivers, a ton of them. A lot more tight ends. I mean, we talk about Jatavian Sanders. If you guys want to learn more about him, we can do Jatavian Sanders. A couple more quarterbacks that might go late or be undrafted that we could talk about. So there's plenty of guys to still talk about, and we usually just do skill positions. We kind of stay away from the defense because most fantasy leagues don't have defensive players. It's just some do and some don't. So we and kickers are kind of interchangeable in our eyes. So mostly it's just the four positions is usually what we stick to. But if you go on over there, comment, and we'll. Good chance we'll have another one up on Wednesday night. So if you guys want to tune in again, similar time, I'll probably be late because that's just my shtick. That's what I do. If he says 7, it's probably 7:15. If he says 7:15, probably 7:30. So there's that 15-minute Eli gap that you need to consider. But yeah, but yeah, I hope this was informational, and I'll let Jay finish it out and skeet out of here.
yep. Yes. I actually do post ahead of time, at least a day or so ahead of time, on the guy who we are covering. So if you guys want to just follow me out on Other Rhythm Fan, I usually try to post that ahead of time so you guys know who we're talking about. If you want to tune in, or if you don't want to tune in, but I usually let people know a day ahead of time of who we are actually going to talk about. And if you do want to talk about somebody, we can talk about Troy Franklin because I have all of his stuff ready to go. So
yeah, Oregon receiver. Probably late second roundish pick, somewhere in there, somewhere in the probably 60 to 70 range for picks. Well, I would, and that's just off the top of my head. Had a really good year with Oregon. We watched a bunch of Pac-12 football. So yeah, if you want us to do Troy Franklin, just comment or anything. If not, hell, we'll probably do Troy Franklin anyways because it's our show. It will do as we see fit. But Troy Franklin is I don't mind Troy Franklin because he's a high profile guy because he was basically the feature receiver at Oregon, but he's not, you don't have ESPN and all these other places on his dick, which I like. So, we could actually get some information out there. Donovan, Johnny Wilson, what is he? Johnny Wilson's from Florida State, isn't he?
no, Michigan.
Oh yeah. I was thinking of Keon Coleman. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Michigan. But stay
we'll
tuned.
do Troy first.
Stay tuned. We'll find out Wednesday and who we actually pick out. So stay tuned.
Do we
Wednesday,
do Johnny Wilson or do we do Troy Franklin? I'll close my eyes.
All right, guys, we're actually getting the heck up out of here. So we appreciate everybody. I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We appreciate your time. We're out of rhythm. We will catch you guys next time.